Hi, I'm Dave and welcome to the Autocratik broadcast. Try saying that with a mouthful of marbles. This isn't really what I've been planning to do on the videos. I wanted to do something big and grand, but I wanted to really test the equipment. As you may have noticed if you watched any of the RPG a day videos, the production values on them were a little bit on the low side. There was a lot of background hiss on the recording, and the picture was a little bit on the grainy side, which is mostly because I didn't use any lighting. So we've got the lights going, at least the proper studio lights, and I've bought myself a microphone, so you should be able to hear me a lot better than you did before. In the future, I'm planning on doing a proper web series, a documentary web series called Roll Your Own Life. It's basically looking back at my time role-playing, looking back to the very first game I ever played, and the friendships that were formed in those role-playing groups back up in Yorkshire. Those friends have stayed with me throughout the years for over 30 years now. I can credit it purely down to the bonds that we made while role-playing. And I wanted to actually just sort of discuss that and go through the games we used to play, hopefully interview some of the other players. But more than that, I wanted to actually get out and about and take the camera with me and interview some gamers and game developers to see how gaming has shaped their lives. When it comes to game developers, of course the games are going to have shaped their lives because they write role-playing games. But I wanted to see how the gaming itself has changed the way they are, how it's changed their values and shaped their life in general. In between doing episodes of Roll Your Own Life, I'm planning on doing like typical gameplay videos and also reviewing things, taking things out of boxes, taking newer stuff out of boxes and then possibly putting them back in the box. Who knows? It depends on how good they are. It's strange using the new lighting. I haven't used it for a few years and I can actually smell the cobwebs burning on them. Wow. Okay. Just so that this episode doesn't seem to be a complete waste of time and me just ranting on the camera about things to come in the future, which may be a few weeks off yet. I wanted to talk to you about small things. I know it sounds a bit odd, doesn't it? This was kind of sparked off because I actually received a Kickstarter through the post this week. I know, it's like a Christmas miracle. Doesn't happen very often. But yes, I managed to receive my copy of The Whispering Road, which is an RPG, or technically a storytelling game, by Brent P. Newell. It was kickstarted only a few months ago, actually, and it's basically a role-playing game that's designed to play like a Studio Ghibli film. And it's very small. Look at it. It's tiny. It's a complete game. It doesn't need supplements. It's in full colour, has illustrations, which kind of proves that you don't really need an awful lot to make a game work. You don't need those enormous books. And it also got me thinking about the first role-playing game that I ever played, which was Traveller. And look at the size of the books. They're tiny. These are what they technically called the little black books. Those were the three that you really just needed to play the game. Characters and combat, starships, worlds and adventures. You had a book 0, if I remember rightly, if you bought the box set. Everybody went for mercenary because that's the kind of person that most gamers are. But all the books were this size. They were really cool. They were cheap too, which was another key feature, which I'll come into in a minute. It's like the adventures were just little tiny ones, and you didn't really need much more than that. They were 48 pages at most. They had adventure ideas in there, all the maps and everything in there, which was cool and exciting. They were nice, small, portable, didn't break your hand by carrying them, and they were cheap to get hold of. Role-playing books are getting smaller, which is nice. I mean, look at Fate, for example. Fate's a great idea because it's starting to reduce the size of a book. Other great smaller books are like Witchcraft or All Flesh Must Be Eaten. But looking at the little books of Traveller, made me think of one of the RPG a day entries that I mentioned, which was old RPGs that could do with a new version. It made me think about the Star Trek license and heading back towards the Traveller days with the small books. And Star Trek worked brilliantly like that. This just suddenly dawned on me. Little books for Star Trek, just like Traveller. Wouldn't that be a great idea? I mean, they could come as a box set. You could make, for that size, you could even make the box set look like a tricorder. Put a strap on it for carrying it around. See, that'd be ideal. Anyway, you could have a cadet book. Pity the printing didn't come out on this. It's got the texture for the uniform and everything on there. But you have a cadet book, which is your character creation and takes you through Academy, just like when you used to stat up your old Traveller characters. Hopefully you don't get killed off in training, because that would be ridiculous. Then you'd need a command book, which didn't come out quite as yellow as I was hoping when it printed. It looked better on the screen, which would be the rules for the GM. And then you could have operations and a science and medical book. So your operations book would be combat. So it'd have all the combat rules would be in one book, and you could have another book which would be all the sciencey things. And you could use a nice pacifistic system, rather like Vortex, for example, which has the same sort of ideals. After all, Star Trek and Doctor Who have the same sort of theology, where you should talk first, shoot second. And then you could have different books for different eras with different uniforms on the front. You could have Next Generation ones. You have the classic Trek like that. I mean, those were J.J. Abrams' lens flare-y new versions. And you could have ones for Klingons. And for adventures, you could have retellings of episodes, but give the alternate way of running them, a bit like the old Bond RPG used to be able to do. So what do you think about rule book sizes? Do you think they're too big? Do you think they're too small? Do you do everything as PDF now just for portability? Does that make it more difficult when it comes to actually having to look things up and scrolling through the pages and whizzing around on your iPad or what have you? Let me know. Put some comments under the video, tweet at Autocratik. Give me some feedback. So that was me rambling on for 5 minutes or more, depending on how much I edit out of this, about role-playing games. This is going to be a regular feature. Just tell me what you want me to talk about. Just be sure to subscribe. There'll be a little icon coming up in the top corner. And also don't forget to like the Autocratik page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, every social network you could imagine. You could probably find me on there somewhere, and let me know what you think. Until then, stay multi-classy.